Ladies and gentlemen, let us talk about resilience. Not the kind of resilience that exists in slogans or fleeting moments of inspiration, but the kind that is forged in the fires of suffering and adversity, the resilience of a woman who rises after every fall. Life, as we all know, is not fair. It isn't a straight road or a well-lit path. It's an unpredictable, chaotic struggle. And for women historically and even now, the struggle is often uniquely demanding. But there exists a particular kind of heroism in the woman who falls, who falters, who is knocked down by forces beyond her control or by her own errors, and yet she gets up. She gets up again. Falling is an unavoidable part of life. To live fully, to strive for something meaningful, is to encounter failure, setbacks, and moments of profound difficulty. It is not a question of if you will fall, but when and how often. This truth, though uncomfortable, is one of the most important lessons we must learn if we are to navigate life with courage and resilience. Falling is part of the human condition, an inescapable consequence of our imperfection and the complexity of the world around us. Every time we set out to achieve something significant, whether it's building a career, nurturing a relationship, or creating a better version of ourselves, we expose ourselves to the possibility of failure. The higher the stakes, the more likely we are to stumble. That's the nature of ambition. You cannot climb without the risk of slipping, and the higher you aim, the farther you may fall. This is not a sign of weakness, but of humanity. It is a reminder that growth demands risk, and risk involves vulnerability. Falling often carries with it a sense of shame or inadequacy. It feels like a betrayal of who we want to be, as if we've let ourselves down or shown the world that we're not enough. But this perspective misses a crucial truth. Falling is not the end of the story. It is simply a chapter, a necessary part of the narrative. Every person who has accomplished something remarkable has faced failure. Often they have fallen more times than they have succeeded. Falling is not evidence of unworthiness. It is proof that you are trying, that you are in the arena, wrestling with the uncertainties and challenges of existence. In many ways, falling is an invitation. It invites us to examine ourselves with honesty and humility. When we fall, we are forced to confront our limitations, our misjudgments, and sometimes even the fragility of our plans. These moments, painful as they are, offer a chance for self-discovery. They strip away illusions and compel us to see things as they truly are. Falling reveals the gaps in our understanding, the weaknesses in our strategies, and the areas where we still need to grow. Falling is not always the result of personal failure or poor decisions. Sometimes life itself brings us to our knees. Unexpected losses, betrayals, and external circumstances beyond our control can upend our best laid plans. These moments remind us of the unpredictability and chaos inherent in existence. They teach us that no matter how carefully we prepare, there are forces beyond our power to manage. This realization is humbling, but it is also clarifying. It underscores the importance of resilience, the ability to adapt, to persevere, and to find meaning even in the face of adversity. Falling also reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. Every person we admire, every figure we hold in high esteem has faced moments of failure. These individuals are not defined by their falls, but by their response to them. When we fall, we join a shared human experience, one that connects us to every person who has dared to strive for something greater. The difference between those who rise and those who remain down lies not in the absence of failure, but in the willingness to learn from it and move forward. There is a paradox in falling. It is both deeply personal and universally human. Each fall feels uniquely ours, tailored to our fears, insecurities, and vulnerabilities. Yet the experience of falling is something we all share. This paradox holds a powerful lesson. While no one can fall for us and no one can rise for us, we are never truly alone in our struggles. Others have walked similar paths, faced similar challenges, and emerged stronger for it. Their stories remind us that falling is not a sign of finality, but of transformation. To embrace this perspective is to reject the notion that life should be smooth or easy. It is to understand that falling is an essential part of becoming. Without it, there is no growth, no progress, no mastery. Falling shapes us, chisels away our naivety, and prepares us for the next stage of our journey. It is not something to fear, but something to accept as an integral part of life's unfolding. This acceptance doesn't make falling painless, nor does it make it easy. The sting of failure, the weight of disappointment, and the vulnerability of being seen in a moment of weakness are all real, but they are also temporary. What matters is not the fall itself, but how we respond. Do we let it define us, or do we rise and define ourselves anew? Falling is inevitable because life is uncertain and we are imperfect. But it is also necessary because through falling we learn, we grow, and we discover our capacity for resilience. It is in our falls that we find the seeds of our eventual triumphs. To fall is to be human, but to rise after every fall is to become something greater. Rising after a fall is one of the most profound acts of human resilience, but it is not an act that can be sustained by sheer willpower alone. The strength to rise, to get back up after being knocked down by failure, loss, or hardship, comes from something deeper, something essential. It comes from meaning. Without meaning, the effort to rise can feel hollow, even impossible. With meaning, however, every step forward becomes purposeful, every struggle worthwhile. Meaning transforms the act of rising from a mere reaction to adversity into a deliberate, courageous act of self-reclamation. Meaning is not the same as happiness or fleeting pleasure. It is something far more enduring. While happiness depends on external circumstances, on things going well, meaning persists, even when the world seems to fall apart. It is the anchor that holds us steady when the storms of life rage around us. Finding meaning is not about escaping suffering, but about understanding it, integrating it, and using it as a foundation for growth. Meaning gives suffering context, a reason to endure, and a purpose that transcends the pain. When we fall, it is easy to feel lost, as if the world has become chaotic and senseless. In those moments, rising can seem like an insurmountable task. Why bother getting up when there's no clear reason to keep going? This is the void that meaning fills. It provides the why behind our efforts, the justification for facing life's challenges head-on. Meaning tells us that our struggles are not in vain, that they contribute to something larger, something significant. It reassures us that, even when the immediate outcome is unclear, the act of striving itself matters. Meaning is deeply personal, yet it often emerges from our connections to others and the world around us. It is rooted in the roles we play, the values we hold dear, and the goals we pursue. For some, meaning is found in the love they give and receive from their families. For others, it arises from the pursuit of knowledge, the creation of art, or the dedication to a cause greater than themselves. Whatever its source, meaning gives us a sense of direction, a reason to rise even when everything seems to be falling apart. Importantly, meaning is not something that simply appears in our lives. It must be cultivated. It requires reflection, effort, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Often it is in the aftermath of a fall that we are forced to ask the most difficult questions. What do I care about? What is worth my effort and my pain? What kind of life do I want to build? These questions, though challenging, are also opportunities. They compel us to dig deeper, to identify what truly matters, and to align our actions with our values. Rising requires meaning because rising is hard. It demands energy, courage, and perseverance, all of which are finite resources. When we lack meaning, we are more likely to give up, to see the fall as a failure rather than a stepping stone. But when we have meaning, we see the fall in a different light. It becomes part of a larger narrative, a necessary chapter in the story of who we are becoming. Meaning transforms setbacks into lessons and obstacles into opportunities for growth. This is not to say that meaning makes the process of rising easy. Far from it. The work of getting back up, of rebuilding what was lost, of facing fears, of confronting the possibility of falling again is always challenging. But meaning gives us the strength to endure those challenges. It reminds us that the effort is not futile, that every small victory is a step towards something worthwhile. Meaning also allows us to transcend ourselves. It connects our individual struggles to something larger. When we rise with a sense of meaning, we are not just standing for ourselves, we are standing for the people who look up to us, for the values we believe in, and for the future we hope to create. This connection gives us a sense of significance that goes beyond the immediate circumstances of our fall. It transforms rising from a solitary act into a contribution to the world. In finding meaning, we also find resilience. Resilience is not just the ability to withstand adversity, but the ability to grow because of it. Meaning is what fuels this growth. It helps us see that our pain and struggles are not wasted. They are the raw material from which we can build a better, stronger version of ourselves. Rising with meaning allows us to carry forward the lessons of the fall, to integrate them into our lives, and to use them to shape a future that aligns with our values and aspirations. Meaning is what makes rising possible. It is what keeps us moving forward when the road is steep and the journey seems endless. Without meaning, the effort to rise can feel like a burden, a futile exercise in futility. But with meaning, rising becomes an act of courage and purpose, a testament to our capacity for growth, and a declaration that our lives are worth fighting for. Strength, real and enduring strength, does not emerge from avoiding pain or pretending that struggles don't exist. It comes through a process of integration, of taking the chaos, the failures, the wounds, and the doubts and weaving them into the fabric of who we are. Integration is not about erasing the past or denying the difficulty of the present. It's about facing these experiences with honesty, accepting their reality, and using them as tools to build something stronger. Strength is not the absence of weakness, but the transformation of weakness into resilience. When we face challenges, our instinct might be to push them aside, to compartmentalize them, or to pretend they don't matter. It feels easier to shove pain into a corner and move on as if it didn't happen. But that avoidance comes at a cost. Unaddressed pain festers, unresolved failures linger in our minds, and unacknowledged fears continue to influence our actions. What we don't integrate has a way of controlling us from the shadows. Strength doesn't come from ignoring these parts of ourselves. It comes from bringing them into the light, understanding them, and allowing them to become part of our story. To integrate is to confront. It's a deliberate act of courage, requiring us to examine the aspects of our lives and our experiences that are uncomfortable, messy, or painful. This confrontation is not an act of indulgence, but of responsibility. It's about taking ownership of who we are, including the parts of ourselves we might wish to discard. Integration means accepting that the fall happened, that the pain was real, and that the mistakes were ours. But it also means refusing to let those moments define us. Instead, we redefine them, weaving them into a narrative of growth and transformation. The process of integration is difficult, and it demands humility. It requires us to admit that we are not perfect, that we have been hurt, and that we have hurt others. It's tempting to blame external circumstances or to focus solely on what went wrong outside of our control. But true integration involves looking inward. It's not about self-condemnation, but about self-awareness. Where did we falter? What can we learn? How can this experience, painful as it is, serve as a lesson for the future? Strength comes not from avoiding these questions, but from embracing them. Through integration, our wounds become a source of wisdom. The mistakes we've made teach us what to avoid in the future. The pain we've endured reminds us of our capacity to survive and adapt. The doubts we faced make us more compassionate toward others who struggle. These experiences don't disappear, they become part of who we are, adding depth and complexity to our character. Integration transforms adversity into insight and vulnerability into strength. Integration also connects us to our humanity. Everyone falls, everyone suffers, everyone carries scars from the battles they've fought. By integrating our own struggles, we develop empathy for the struggles of others. We begin to see our shared experiences, the common threads that bind us as human beings. This connection doesn't diminish our strength, it enhances it. It reminds us that we are not alone and that the strength we cultivate in ourselves can serve as a source of hope and inspiration for those around us. There is also a sense of wholeness that comes from integration. When we deny parts of ourselves or try to erase the past, we create fractures within our identity. We become divided, unsure of who we are or where we stand. Integration heals these fractures. It brings together the different parts of our experience, success and failure, joy and pain, strength and weakness into a cohesive whole. It allows us to stand firmly in our identity, unshaken by the inevitable challenges of life. This integrated strength is not static, it's dynamic, evolving as we encounter new challenges and gain new insights. Each fall, each setback becomes an opportunity to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world. Strength through integration is not about reaching a point where we are invulnerable. It's about becoming adaptable, resilient, and capable of growth. It's about learning to carry our burdens with grace and using them to propel us forward. Strength comes through integration because integration aligns us with reality. It acknowledges life as it is complex, unpredictable, and often painful. It refuses to sugarcoat or idealize, but instead embraces the full spectrum of human experience. This alignment with reality is what makes us strong. It allows us to navigate life with clarity and purpose, unafraid of what may come, because we have already faced the chaos within ourselves and emerged stronger for it. To integrate is to heal. To heal is to grow. And to grow is to become strong, not in spite of our struggles, but because of them. Strength through integration is not a destination, it is a process, a lifelong journey of becoming. It is the work of taking all that we have been and using it to create a future that reflects our courage, resilience, and capacity for transformation. Taking responsibility is one of the most critical steps toward personal growth and resilience. It is not merely a burden to carry, it is a powerful tool that enables us to reclaim control over our lives, even in the face of adversity. When we take responsibility, we stop waiting for external forces to save us or circumstances to align perfectly. Instead, we recognize that our actions, choices, and attitudes play a decisive role in shaping our experiences and outcomes. It is through this acknowledgement that we find the strength to rise after every fall and the courage to confront life's challenges head-on. To take responsibility is to accept that life, with all its unpredictability and chaos, demands more from us than passive participation. We may not have control over everything that happens to us. There will always be external factors beyond our influence, but we do have control over how we respond. Responsibility begins with this realization: while we cannot dictate the events of our lives, we can dictate the meaning we assign to them and the actions we take in response. When we fall, the temptation is often to look outward for someone or something to blame. It's a natural reaction. Blame provides a temporary relief from the weight of failure. It shifts the focus away from our own shortcomings and onto external causes. But blame is also a trap. It keeps us stuck in a mindset of helplessness, where we see ourselves as victims of circumstances rather than active participants in our own lives. Responsibility, on the other hand, is liberating. It shifts the focus inward, empowering us to identify what we can change and how we can move forward. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming ourselves for everything that goes wrong. It's not about self-punishment or shouldering the weight of the world. It's about discerning what is within our sphere of influence and acting on it. Responsibility asks us to be honest with ourselves, to acknowledge where we've made mistakes, and to learn from them. It requires humility, admitting that we don't have all the answers, and courage to face the discomfort of self-reflection. This honesty is not weakness, it is the foundation of strength. Through it, we gain clarity about what needs to change and where we need to grow. Responsibility also involves understanding the broader impact of our actions. We are not isolated individuals. Our choices ripple out into the world around us, affecting others in ways we may not immediately see. To take responsibility is to recognize this interconnectedness and act accordingly. It's about considering how our behavior influences those we care about, how our efforts contribute to the goals we value, and how our responses to challenges shape the kind of people we become. Responsibility asks us to live with integrity, aligning our actions with our principles and our aspirations. One of the greatest challenges of taking responsibility is confronting the fear of failure. To take responsibility is to admit that we are fallible, that we will stumble, and that our choices carry the possibility of error. This vulnerability can be daunting, but it is also where growth begins. Responsibility teaches us that failure is not something to be avoided at all costs, but something to be faced, understood, and integrated into our journey. Each mistake becomes a lesson, each setback a stepping stone. In this way, taking responsibility transforms fear into an opportunity for learning and resilience. Another crucial aspect of responsibility is its role in creating meaning. When we take responsibility for our lives, we are no longer passive observers. We become active participants in shaping our story. Responsibility gives us the power to decide what kind of person we want to be and what kind of life we want to lead. It allows us to align our actions with our values and to find purpose even in the face of hardship. Through responsibility, we discover that our struggles are not meaningless. They are the raw materials from which we can build a life of significance. Responsibility also strengthens our relationships. When we take responsibility for our actions, we build trust with others. We demonstrate that we are dependable, that we are willing to own up to our mistakes, and that we are committed to making things right. This accountability fosters deeper connections as it shows others that we value their trust and respect. Responsibility, then, is not only about personal growth, but also about contributing to the well-being of those around us. Taking responsibility is an act of empowerment. It is the acknowledgement that while we may not choose the circumstances of our lives, we do choose how we navigate them. It is a declaration of agency, a refusal to be defined by external forces, and a commitment to living with purpose and integrity. Responsibility is not always easy. It requires effort, self-awareness, and persistence, but it is essential for anyone who seeks to rise after a fall. By taking responsibility, we take control of our narrative, transforming obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones toward a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Rising after a fall is not just a personal act, it is a profound and powerful message to the world. When we choose to stand up after being knocked down, when we face our struggles with courage and resolve, we send a signal to others that it is possible to overcome, to rebuild, and to keep moving forward. The act of rising inspires those around us in ways we may not fully realize. It gives them permission to face their own challenges, to be resilient in the face of adversity, and to believe that their own struggles do not define their potential. Every person is a part of a larger network of relationships, communities, and societies. Our actions, particularly how we respond to difficulty, have an impact beyond ourselves. When we rise after a fall, we provide others with a model for resilience. We demonstrate that life's hardships are not the end, but are, in fact, a beginning. The way we respond to adversity teaches others how to respond to their own. It's a silent but powerful lesson, one that is far more impactful than any lecture or instruction could ever be. In this way, rising is an act of leadership, even if no one formally designates us as a leader. Often we are unaware of the influence we have on others. Our actions, no matter how small they seem, are being observed by those around us. The people who are closest to us, our families, friends, colleagues, are paying attention to how we handle life's challenges. They look to us for clues on how to manage their own struggles. When we rise, we provide them with hope, showing them that the same strength and perseverance are available to them. We reveal that, even in the darkest times, there is a path forward, and it is one that requires action, effort, and courage. When we rise, we show others that they are not alone in their struggles. Everyone faces difficulties. No one is exempt from pain or hardship. By demonstrating that it's possible to rise, we normalize the experience of struggle. We remind others that their difficulties are part of the human experience, not something to be ashamed of. In this way, our rising is an act of solidarity, an expression of empathy. It says to others, I have faced challenges and so have you, but I can rise and so can you. This creates a sense of unity and shared experience, a reminder that we are all in this together. Rising also inspires others by offering them a new perspective. When we experience a fall, whether it's personal, professional, or emotional, we often feel isolated. We might believe that we are the only ones going through such pain, that our failures are unique to us. But when others rise, they offer us a different way of seeing our own challenges. They show us that setbacks do not have to be defining moments. Rather, they can be catalysts for growth and transformation. By watching someone rise, we begin to see that our own falls are not the end of the story, but simply a chapter in a larger, ongoing narrative. The strength to rise is contagious. When one person rises, it creates a ripple effect. It doesn't just change their life, it changes the lives of those who witness it. The person who rises becomes an example, a source of inspiration for others to find their own strength. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. The light may begin in one place, but it spreads and illuminates the entire space. The courage to rise can embolden others to take similar steps in their own lives. In this way, the act of rising becomes an ongoing cycle of empowerment, as each person who rises in turn inspires those around them to rise as well. When we rise after a fall, we reinforce a message that resilience and determination are more important than perfection or success. Society often places immense value on success, achievement, and external validation. But real strength lies in the ability to keep going, to rise after failure, to refuse to be defined by setbacks. By rising, we show others that success is not a straight path, but a journey filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. It is not about avoiding failure. It is about embracing it, learning from it, and using it to build something better. This perspective shifts the focus away from perfection and toward growth, which is an invaluable lesson for everyone. Rising also provides a deep sense of hope to those who may be struggling. In times of personal crisis or hardship, it's easy to lose sight of the possibility of a brighter future. The weight of failure or the heaviness of grief can cloud our vision and make it difficult to see a way forward. But when others rise, they offer that hope, proof that no matter how dark the moment, it is possible to emerge from it stronger and wiser. This hope is a powerful motivator, encouraging others to take the first step toward their own recovery, their own transformation. Rising is more than a personal triumph, it is a gift to others. When we rise, we give those around us a vision of what is possible. We offer them hope, strength, and courage, showing them that it is possible to overcome adversity and come out stronger on the other side. Our act of rising becomes a beacon, guiding others through their own struggles. And in this way, the power of rising extends far beyond the individual. It becomes a collective force, spreading through families, communities, and beyond, inspiring countless others to stand up, rise, and move forward. Staying down after a fall, whether it's a personal failure, a setback, or an emotional blow, seems at times like the easier option. It might feel comfortable to wallow in self-pity, to retreat from the world, and to ignore the demands of life. After all, rising requires effort, courage, and the possibility of facing further disappointment. Yet the cost of staying down is far too high. Choosing to remain on the ground, to remain defeated, carries consequences that extend far beyond the immediate discomfort of struggle. It affects our mental and emotional well-being, our relationships, and even our sense of purpose in life. When we choose to stay down, we begin to give in to the inertia of despair. We stop moving forward, we stop growing, and we stop challenging ourselves. In the moment, it might seem like staying still is a form of rest or protection. However, the longer we remain in that place, the more we risk becoming stagnant. Life does not stand still, it moves, and it moves quickly. The world continues to evolve, people around us continue to grow, and new opportunities present themselves. By staying down, we miss these opportunities. We forfeit our ability to change, to learn, and to embrace the future. Staying down also diminishes our sense of self-worth. Every time we choose not to rise, we reinforce the belief that we are powerless, that we lack the strength to face life's challenges. Over time, this erodes our self-esteem and makes it even harder to pick ourselves back up the next time we fall. The longer we stay down, the more difficult it becomes to believe in our ability to succeed. We start to see ourselves as failures, as people who are incapable of overcoming obstacles. This self-image becomes a prison, trapping us in a cycle of defeat that grows harder to escape with each passing day. Staying down carries a cost to our relationships. When we retreat from the world, we isolate ourselves. The people who care about us, our friends, family, and colleagues, may not know how to reach us. They may feel helpless, frustrated, or even rejected. The act of staying down is, in a sense, a withdrawal from the connections that provide us with support, love, and encouragement. It's in our rising and our willingness to get back up that we allow others to help us, to stand with us, and to walk beside us as we face the world again. By staying down, we cut ourselves off from the very resources that can help us heal and grow. Staying down also affects our future potential. Every time we choose to stay in a place of victimhood or resignation, we lose the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and grow stronger. Each fall contains within it a lesson, a challenge, and an opportunity for personal development. If we allow ourselves to remain in the pit of despair, we miss these valuable insights. We fail to learn the skills, mindsets, and strategies that will help us navigate future challenges more effectively. The cost of staying down, then, is not just the missed lesson, but the long-term limitations it imposes on our ability to thrive. The emotional toll of staying down is often greater than the cost of rising. It's easy to think that retreating into a place of inaction will spare us further emotional pain. However, the longer we stay down, the more difficult it becomes to escape the grip of negativity. The initial sadness or frustration from a fall can transform into resentment, bitterness, and even depression. We begin to feel trapped, as though we have no way out. Staying down locks us in a cycle of self-defeat that only deepens the emotional burden. Rising, on the other hand, even though it may be difficult, allows us to break free from these negative emotions. It helps us regain control, restores our sense of agency, and gives us hope for the future. The cost of staying down also extends to our overall health. Emotional distress, when left unchecked, can manifest in physical ways. Stress, anxiety, and depression can take a heavy toll on the body, leading to fatigue, sleep disturbances, and even long-term health issues. The act of rising, however, often brings with it a renewed sense of purpose and energy. The effort of getting back up, of pushing through the discomfort, reinvigorates us. It helps restore our vitality and promotes a sense of well-being. By staying down, we are not only harming our emotional and mental state, but we are also undermining our physical health. There is a societal cost to staying down. Our lives are interwoven with the lives of others. By staying down, we limit our ability to contribute to the collective good. We withdraw from the responsibilities, roles, and duties that we have within our communities. We stop being a source of support, a voice of encouragement, and a participant in the world around us. The world needs people who rise, who push through adversity and bring their strength to the table. When we stay down, we withhold that contribution, and the world loses something valuable. Our lives then are not just about us, they are part of a greater narrative. By rising, we add meaning to that narrative, we add value to the lives of others, and we give back to the world that has shaped us. Staying down keeps us from realizing our full potential. Every person has within them the capacity for growth, for change, and for greatness. But that potential can only be realized if we are willing to face our challenges, to rise after every fall, and to continue on the path of self-discovery and development. The cost of staying down is the permanent forfeiture of this potential. When we allow ourselves to remain defeated, we stop growing, we stop striving for the person we could be and settle for the person we were. But when we rise, we unlock new levels of strength, resilience, and wisdom. We become who we are truly meant to be. The cost of staying down is simply too high. It is a price that we pay, not just in the immediate moment, but in the long-term consequences that ripple through every aspect of our lives. The cost of staying down is the loss of self-worth, the erosion of relationships, the forfeiture of potential, and the emotional and physical toll that comes from neglecting our own growth. Rising may be difficult, but it is always worth it. The act of getting back up, no matter how challenging, is the only path that leads to healing, growth, and the fulfillment of our true potential. Rising is not a one-time event, nor is it a temporary act performed in response to a singular moment of adversity. It is a lifelong commitment, an ongoing choice to stand up again and again in the face of the challenges life inevitably throws our way. To rise is to embrace a path that requires continuous effort, resilience, and determination. It is a mindset that demands persistence, a belief in the value of moving forward despite the obstacles that may block the way. Rising is not something that happens in an instant. It is a process that unfolds over the course of a lifetime. In life, there is no shortage of setbacks. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a career failure, personal disappointment, or health issues, the road is filled with moments that threaten to pull us down. The natural inclination when faced with such circumstances may be to succumb to despair, to wallow in the difficulty of the situation, or to give in to the overwhelming feeling of defeat. But these moments are not the end. They are merely a part of the journey. Rising, therefore, becomes the decision to keep moving forward in spite of them. It is about understanding that while the falls may be inevitable, the act of rising is a choice that shapes our future. Rising is also an exercise in self-awareness and growth. Every time we fall, we have an opportunity to reflect and learn. Our failures, mistakes, and moments of suffering teach us lessons that success and ease cannot. However, it's not enough simply to endure. We must take those lessons to heart, integrate them into our lives, and use them to build a better future. To rise is not just to regain our footing, but to emerge from our struggles stronger, wiser, and more equipped to handle the next challenge that comes our way. It is through this process of growth and adaptation that we come to realize that each fall is not just a setback, but an essential part of our development as individuals. Rising is an act of self-compassion. It requires the understanding that perfection is not the goal and that making mistakes is part of being human. We are all prone to flaws, vulnerabilities, and moments of weakness, and the act of rising is, in part, the recognition that we are worthy of redemption and growth. It is an acknowledgement that we are not defined by our mistakes, but by our capacity to recover and evolve. To rise is to practice forgiveness, not just toward others, but toward ourselves. It is to embrace our imperfections and recognize that they do not diminish our worth, rather, they enhance our depth and humanity. The commitment to rise also involves a deeper commitment to meaning. Life, with all its trials and tribulations, can often feel overwhelming or meaningless. Yet, it is in the act of rising that we find our purpose. Rising is the acknowledgement that life is not simply about avoiding pain or seeking comfort, but about facing challenges with purpose and integrity. It is about finding meaning in the struggle itself. Through this lens, even the hardest times become an opportunity to build something greater, a story of resilience, of overcoming, of growing through difficulty. The process of rising is not just about moving forward, it is about moving forward with a sense of purpose that fuels our actions and gives our lives direction. In the same vein, rising requires a deep connection to our values and principles. When we fall, it can be tempting to lose sight of what is important or to abandon the very things that define us. Rising, however, is about reconnecting with those values and using them as a foundation from which to rebuild. It's about holding fast to our sense of integrity even in the face of adversity. This commitment to our core values provides the strength to endure hardship without compromising who we are or what we believe. It anchors us in the storm, giving us the clarity to see beyond the immediate pain and focus on the bigger picture of our lives. Rising also means accepting the unpredictability of life. No matter how prepared we may be, life will inevitably present us with unexpected challenges, and sometimes we will fall. These falls may come when we least expect them, and they may feel overwhelming. But to rise means accepting this uncertainty and maintaining the faith that we are capable of handling whatever life throws our way. The commitment to rise is not a guarantee that we won't face difficulties. Rather, it is the recognition that we have the inner resources to navigate them, to adapt, and to persevere. In this way, rising is a form of trust, not just in our own strength, but in the process of life itself. This lifelong commitment to rise also impacts those around us. Our ability to rise, to stand tall after each fall, becomes a source of inspiration to others. By choosing to rise, we show others what is possible, not just for ourselves, but for them as well. Our resilience can serve as a model for those who are struggling, giving them hope that they too can find the strength to overcome their challenges. Rising then becomes a communal act. It not only strengthens us, but also strengthens those we interact with. It builds a collective resilience, one that nurtures hope, connection, and mutual support. Rising is a commitment to life itself. It is a choice to continue engaging with the world despite the inevitable pain and setbacks. It is the understanding that life's purpose is not found in avoiding struggle, but in facing it head-on with courage and determination. To rise is to affirm the belief that every challenge is an opportunity, every failure a lesson, and every fall a chance to rise again. This lifelong commitment does not promise an easy path, but it promises one of growth, transformation, and meaning. It is the choice to live fully, to face the world with open eyes, and to always, no matter how many times we fall, rise again. In conclusion, the journey of rising after every fall is not just about overcoming individual challenges. It is a commitment to growth, resilience, and living a life of purpose. Each setback presents an opportunity to learn, to deepen our understanding, and to become stronger and more capable. Rising requires not only strength and determination, but a deep belief in our ability to overcome adversity no matter how many times we stumble. It is a lifelong journey, one that demands we integrate our experiences, take responsibility for our actions, and inspire others through our perseverance. The cost of staying down is simply too high, as it denies us the opportunity to fulfill our potential and embrace the fullness of life. To those who are navigating their own challenges, remember that you are not alone. Keep rising again and again. Each time you do, you grow, you inspire, and you shape a future that is stronger and more meaningful than the past. The world needs your resilience, and you have the power to make a difference, both for yourself and for those around you. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on this message, and good luck on your own journey. May you find the strength to rise no matter the obstacles, and may you always believe in the power of your own ability to move forward. You are capable of great things.